In the start of this chapter, we see a car moving on the road. There is a boy inside the car playing games. His name is Gilsu. His father asks him to put down his phone. Boy didn't listen to his father. Then his mother tells him that his father is talking to him and tells him that he should at least answer. Boy still doesn't say anything. He thinks, I bet my dad regrets it. He is remembering the time when his classmates were bullying him. He thinks that his father regrets because he is a pathetic and weak son. His mother says to him, if the other kids bully you and hit you in the new school too, then just quit. I want you to live a life you feel more comfortable living. Gilsu thinks, liar. You were the one who made us move so that I could transfer when I said I wanted to quit the school. He lost the game that he was playing. He is looking very sad and thinks that he should just kill himself. He thinks, I want to run away. Or maybe an earthquake or North Korea invasion. He is in the new school. He introduced himself as Lee Gilsu and tell them that he came from Seoul. He's never been here before. Nice to meet you all. He thinks, I wish time would stop. I wish nothing bad would happen. Class students start clapping and welcome him, saying that they are very happy to meet him. One boy says, finally, we have a Seoul person in our class. The atmosphere is very different. He gets his seat. After some time, a boy comes to him and says, hey, new kid. Gilsu sees them and remembers the old time when he was getting bullied and thinks that it will happen to him again. Boy touches his shoulder and says, I'm Jean Duil. You're not used to things yet, right? Let's go to the convenience store together. We'll show you around school on the way too. Gilsu agrees with them. He thinks that this is his first time going to a convenience store with someone as friends. Duil says to him, what do you think? You've never seen eyebrows like these, have you? Doesn't that explain why his girlfriend broke up with him? Gilsu is nervous and tells them that he thinks it's charming in its own way. Gilsu is happy in this school. He thinks that in this school everyone looks so happy. Maybe he can also. Suddenly someone bumped into him and his grape juice dropped on his clothes. Gilsu gets scared and says, sorry. I'll give you the money to get it cleaned. Come to class 1 later. Boy says it's fine, but he does appreciate the offer. Gilsu thinks that he's kind. He thinks that he can live a normal life here. School is about to end. He thinks, the vibes here are definitely different from my old school. Everyone's nice and so sweet. I was worried for no reason at all.
I'm glad he moved.
Duil comes to him and asks him if he has any plans for today. Gilsu tells him that he has no plans and he is free. Duil says, that's good. Then do you want to go somewhere with me? Gilsu agrees with him. At night, Gilsu is walking with him. He thinks, I feel like we've been walking for a while. Where are we going? Gilsu asks him about where they are going. Gilsu tells him that he feels like they're walking for a long time. Duil stops and tells him that he wants to show him this place. He tells Gilsu that he has to go there when he is new to school. Gilsu thinks, I have to? Now that I think about it, we're getting farther from the inner city. Duil asks him if he's ever done boxing or something similar like that before. Gilsu tells him that he never did anything like that. DPL smiles and says, is that so? Then you're gonna need some ball for this. Let's hurry it up. We're almost there. Gilsu thinks, I didn't notice earlier, but he has scars all over him. He remembers the old time when he got bullied by a knife and thinks that if the same is going to happen to him again. Gilsu suddenly stops and tells him that he is sorry, but he has to leave. Gilsu says that he will come with you another time. Duil grabs him from his shoulder and tells him that they're almost there. Just come take a look real quick if you're busy. I'm sure you'll enjoy it too. Gilsu is looking very scared. Gilsu thinks, I let him take me away like a helpless idiot. It was all just a lie. The kindness, all the sweet smiles. I'm just going to get bullied again. They reach their destination. When Duil opens the door, we see that there is a boxing ring and 2 people doing boxing. And there are many people cheering for them. All of these people are from the school. One boxer lands a very good kick on his opponent. People are saying that they want to go next. Gilsu is shocked and thinks, what? Duil smiles and says, you must be shocked. Gilsu asks him, what is this? He replies, it's our school's fighting arena. It's the biggest privilege permitted to just our school's students. One person calls Duil and asks him about who is with him. This person's name is Jang Chung, Six Gates High School's president. Duil tells him that Gilsu transferred today to his class. Gilsu thinks that he look really scary Is he really a high school student? Boy with weird eyebrows who was with them before. He says to Duil, get over here. We've been waiting for you. I'll make you regret making fun of my eyebrows. Duil is ready and says, you just wait. I'll be right there. Chung comes to him and says, nice to meet you. He is very tall compared to Gilsu. Chung introduced himself. Chung says, welcome to our school. We see that Duil and Weird Eyebrows are fighting very seriously and intensely. Gilsu thinks, why are they fighting? I thought they were friends. Chung is very happy and says, this year's freshmen aren't bad. Gilsu looks at him and thinks, who is he? Really? Chung tells him, this is the true face of our school. I don't know if you noticed, but our school doesn't have bullies. However, we do have violence. It's just confined to his arena here. You must have gone through a lot of shit in school, right? De-stress right here. A school where everyone is equal in the face of violence. That is, Six Gates Fighting Arena. Everyone's equal in the face of violence? Chung says, I don't like complex shit. I'm not gonna repeat myself, so listen closely. Rule number 1. Only students of high gates are allowed entry here. Entry is not allowed after graduation, dropping out, or expulsion. Rule number 2. All the fights will be one-on-one, and without weapons. A third person is not allowed no matter what. Rule number 3. The Student Guidance Council will act as referee for the fights, and they are the only ones to decide the end of any fight. A boy comes to him and says, there you are. Where have you been? New kid. Gilsu thinks, he's the guy from earlier. He says, come up here. Let's have a fight for the cleaning fee. Chung says, what? You already have an opponent? Learn as you go. Rule number 4. Any kind of violence is banned outside of the fighting arena. Any kind of negative feeling you had towards someone will be resolved in the arena. That's the most important rule. Don't be scared. Just have fun. Gilsu thinks, me, enjoying fight? My daily routine used to be getting beaten up. Gilsu is against this guy. Gilsu thinks, my opponent is someone like him. My 3 years of experience as a bullying victim is telling me that I need to get out of here. One boy says, the transfer student I really unlucky. To be picked by Kang In-hee on his first day. Second boy asks him, In-hee? Is he famous? I think he's a first year. He says, In-hee is that guy's younger brother. I heard he came to our school this year. In-hee asks Gilsu, what? Are you not going to come to me? I was going to give you a handicap because it's your first time. Gilsu thinks, I was scared. My body won't move. Why am I fighting him all of a sudden? In-hee says, if you won't come, then I will. In-hee runs to hit away. Gilsu is scared and thinks, go away. Everyone suddenly gets quiet and looking very shocked. We see something is on In-hee. It looks like Gilsu vomits because he got very scared. People starts making fun of him. In-hee is angry. He says, pause. Hurry up and get me a towel. Gilsu thinks, how can someone like me, who's never rebelled in his life once, is someone else? I can't do this. Next day, everyone is talking about Gilsu and saying that yesterday was very great. They say that the transfer student vomited in the arena. Gilsu is sitting on toilet and thinks, I'm screwed. So screwed. I thought this was a normal school. Fighting arena? He remembers that Chung asks him to enjoy here. Gilsu is embarrassed and thinks, I can't forget about having fun. I couldn't even extend my arm. Something like yesterday is going to happen again today. But still, there is no violence within the school grounds. If I don't go to the fighting arena, we see that Chung did 1,000 push-ups while 2 students were sitting on him. Gilsu sees that and thinks, is he really a high schooler? Chung asks Gilsu if he has something to say to him. Gilsu tells him, I have something I want to ask you regarding the fighting arena. Chung says, what is it? Did you develop another skill other than vomiting? Gilsu says, no, it's not that. I want to say that I can't go to the fighting arena from now on. Chung asks him why. You weren't injured yesterday. Gilsu says, I'm not, but I don't have the confidence to fight a person. I don't want to hit anyone, and I don't find it fun. I don't understand the whole fighting arena thing. So from now on, I can't. Chung says, what you just said means I can beat you up as much as I like from now on, right? As the school president, I, Chung, announced that the first-year student Gilsu will not be protected by the fighting arena from now on. After that, we see that Gilsoo is sitting on his seat. He thinks, protected by the fighting arena? What the hell is that about? Inhi comes to his class and says, so it was this class. I heard about it, that you're not coming to the fighting arena anymore. Inhi slam him onto his table. Image says, then I'll slowly teach you what that means in this school. I was actually in need of a slave. You're mine now. No one is doing anything to protect Gilsoo. Inhi is hitting his again and again. Inhi hit him on the face and says, that was a good knee strike. Yellow Hair Boy says, I heard he came here because he got beat up at his previous school. Inhi says, is that so? No way. I knew that when I started beating him up. Hey, come to my class every time there's a break. Gilsoo thinks, I was able to understand what the fighting arena's protection was right away. If you don't participate, it means you become the only student for whom violence is allowed. My hell was started once again. Gilsoo is sitting in the staff room talking to the teacher about his dropout. Teacher says, you're going to drop out? But it's only been a week. Gilsoo says, yes, I'm already preparing for the exam. That's more important to me. Teacher says, if that's what you want, then it can't be helped. Gilsoo thinks, I did everything I could. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad, that you have such a worthless son. He is going back to his home. He thinks, now my horrific school life has ended. Starting from tomorrow, I'll live normally. Chung is there. He asks him, why aren't you fighting? Tell me, what the hell is the problem? Gilsoo says, I'm sorry and thinks, someone who's crazy about fighting can't possibly understand how I feel. Gilsoo says to him, to be honest, I have trauma from violence. I was bullied severely in my previous school, and now I've reached my limit. I just want to give up. I've done what I can. Chung touches his shoulder and says, you're more pathetic than I thought. Chung says, who told you that you need to fight like a pro? Skills? You don't need shit like that. If you don't have teeth, use your gums. If you don't have strength, use your guts. That's what fighting is about. But, right now, you don't even want to protect yourself. Gilsoo thinks, why is he doing this? What did I do wrong? Chung says, do you think the outside was all sunshine and butterflies if you drop out and go there? No, you'll just remain a loser your entire life. Gilsoo is walking to his home again and thinks, what do you know? You've never been weak. I don't know. I'm done. Inhi is on his way. He calls him. He says, I heard you're not coming to school starting tomorrow. How can you drop out without telling us? If you leave, then who's going to be my sandbag? Ever since that bastard Chung created the fighting arena, I've never had a slave. Do you think everything will stop if you drop out? Follow me, you bastard. They take him to a place where no one is looking. They are beating Gilsoo very badly. Gilsoo thinks, I think I'm going to die. Please stop. Inhi is just spectating and says, but you should be glad. If it were the 6 gates high when my brother was around, you would really die. That's right. Is the address you sent me before accurate? Of course it is. You know our intel is great. Wow, our Gilsoo lives in such a nice place. Unit 1105, Building 604, Jua Apartments, Manga City. Next time, we'll come over. Let's see each other often since you don't participate in the fighting arena. Gilsoo asks him, what are you doing? What do you plan to do with my address? Gilsoo is looking very worried and scared. And he says, he's fighting back? Hold still, or I'm going to a photo of you beat up and send it to everyone. Gilsoo thinks, why are they doing this to me? What did I do wrong? I thought everything was going to end. This painful hell, I thought I escaped. But what the hell happened? What can I do to get out of this hell? He remembers what Chung said to him that he didn't need to fight like a pro. Skill doesn't matter. If you don't have teeth, use your gums. If you don't have strength, then use your gut. That is what fighting is about. But right now, you don't even want to protect yourself. Gilsoo shouts very loudly. Inhi laughs and says, this loser screaming is so funny. Gilsoo thinks, why me? Gilsoo frees himself and throws the phone of Inhi. And he says, I told you to hold him tighter. He's struggling. Gilsoo thinks, if I don't have teeth, then I'll use my gums. Now Inhi is screaming because Gilsoo bite his hand. He is not letting him go. Gilsoo thinks, if I don't have strength, I'll use my guts. Yeah, I'll struggle. Inhi hits him on the face. Inhi take a look at his hand and says, you crazy bastard. It hurts. Gilsu says, "How's that? Hurts, doesn't it? If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna drag you down with me. You son of a." And he says, "Would you look at that? Even a rat bites back when it gets cornered. You're ready, right?" Two boys come at him to attack. Gilsu throws sand on their faces. Gilsu thinks, "I don't need to look cool while fighting. I just need to do what I can." And he thinks, "Sand? Did he grab it when he fell?" And he orders his friends to grab him. Gilsu is trying to run away from them and thinks, "Am I crazy? Why would I fight you guys here right now?" Gilsu enters the 6 gates. He says, "I'll do it. I'll join the fighting arena." Inhi and his friends also appear there. Chung smiles and says, "This guy's more fun than I thought." Gilsu and Inhi are about to fight. Yellow Hair Man says, "That loser, it should be me, not Inhi, beating the shit out of that nerd." This fighting arena. This man's name is Park Yango, number 2 in Inhi's gang. Man that is standing beside him asks him to keep his voice down because he is not alone. Yango says, "Yeah, I know, we always have to be careful." Gilsu is getting beaten up. Bro is not fighting back. And he says, "Did you think you'd be able to do something if you fought me one-on-one? Seriously, these pathetic losers and their delusions." And he hits him on the face and says, "How is it? You regret it now, don't you? See, if you just taken the beating quietly." Gilsu is giving him a death stare. And he says, "This bastard, lower your Dama eyes." And he hits him on the face and says, "Idiot, trying to crawl his way up without knowing his place. If you're a loser, act like one and stay down. What? Did you think things would unfold like some scene in a webtoon?" Gilsu is getting beaten up very badly. People are asking if he is dead. And he thinks, "Did I get too excited? He's not really dead, is he?" Gilsu is getting up again. And he gets shocked after seeing his determination. He thinks, he should have been knocked out by that just now. And he goes toward him and says, "Hey, don't try to act tough. If you push any further, I might actually kill you." Gilsu is very angry and says, "Kill me? With just this?" Gilsu grabs him and thinks, "This is nothing compared to the pain I've endured until now." Gilsu slams him on the ground. Boys say that he got some moves. And he thinks, "What the? I thought he'd give up for sure. He caught me off guard." Gilsu was about to hit him but got punched in the face instead. And he says, "What are you going to hit me with these slow punches?" Gilsu is still giving death stares. He thinks, "If you don't have strength, use your sheer power." Gilsu headbutt him. Inhi's nose starts to bleed. Boys saying that the transfer student landed a clean hit, and this is getting more fun. Chung is observing the match carefully. He thinks, even if the adrenaline is dulling the pain, he must have taken quite a bit of damage. Gilsu, this guy's definitely got some resilience. Inhi throws him away. He gets up and says, "Piece of shit. Do you have a death wish?" Gilsu is still standing and continuously giving death stare. He thinks, "What the? Is that all there to them? The gangs I was terrified of. Is this all they have to show for in the fighting arena?" Everyone is cheering for Gilsu. Gilsu runs to attack him and thinks, "Why was I so scared of these punks all this time?" And he punches him on the face and says, "Sorry, but I'm not letting you catch me off guard anymore." Gilsu lost the match. And Har is the winner. He wakes up and thinks, "Where am I? Did I faint? Even so, I did it. I never even thought I'd win in the first place. I just charged in, hoping to land a hit on that bastard. I did everything I could, but, at that time, if I had gone in a bit calmly instead of rushing, it wouldn't have ended so quickly. Or should I have targeted his lower body like I did at the start? No, he wouldn't have fallen for that unless he had his guard down. If only I was a bit stronger, just a bit stronger." Chung looks at him. He says, "Are you feeling more clear-headed now?" Gilsu asks him if he is still here because of him. Chung says, "As the student council president, it's my duty to look after a student who has passed out. The arena isn't a place to beat someone to death. It's actually a place to protect students. You know it was only for today, right? Starting tomorrow, you're not allowed inside since you're not a 6 Gates High student. Well, take care." Gilsu asks him, "What I need to do?" He tells him Chung that he is not going to drop out and asks him to tell him what to do. Gilsu says that he want to become stronger. Chung smiles and says, "Training the weak is also a duty of the student council president. Are you ready?" Chung hits him on the stomach. Gilsu feels so much pain. Chung says, "How does it feel? Like you're going to die? This is just the beginning. I'll make you able to bear these punches." This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part. Gilsu thinks, "In the beginning, I just happened to be in the way of a flying slipper." A student says, "Sorry." Second student asks him, "Are you okay?" Gilsu says, "I'm okay." He thinks the slipper incident was what exposed me as weakling. A student grabs Gilsu from the neck and says, I told you, 100,000 won a week." They are beating Gilsu and says, "This is why losers like him need to be beaten up. He can't even speak up. Let's give him a beating out of love so that he learns." 200,000 for next week. He thinks, "I became a weakling who couldn't even protect myself." However, he says to Chung, "Please teach me. I want to become strong, too." Gilsu thinks, "I'm not going to live that life anymore." Chung gets excited and says, "It's my duty as the student council president to make the weak strong." Chung punched Gilsu in the stomach. Gilsu starts to cough. Chung asks, "How is it? Does it feel like you're going to die?" "That's just the beginning. By the time I'm done with you, you'll be able to handle these punches easily." On the next day, Gilsu goes to school and says, "That hurt a lot. How hard did he punch me? I feel like he broke something." Chung says, "Come and find me during you breaks. You can become strong if you keep doing that." Gilsu thinks that alone. Will it make me strong? Jean appears behind him and asks, "I thought you were gonna quit." "That's I changed my mind." Jean says, "Whoa, really? I guess you like the fighting arena then. You've got guts." Gilsu says, "Not even." Inhee and his gang appears in front of him. They say, "The sandbag is back?" Gilsu thinks, he's strong. Inhee says, "Goddamn. I didn't expect you to come back. Did you want to get revenge? But you should know your place. I might actually kill you next time." Gilsu is really angry and thinks, "I'm going to become strong, so that I don't even lost 4T to bastards like him." After that, we see Chung is punching Gilsu a lot. Chung says, "Keep your eyes open. Don't be scared. Look right at my fist. You're not allowed to fight until our training is over." Gilsu thinks, "No way. How is this training? We trained at the school's rooftop for several days." Chung is still beating Gilsu. Gilsu thinks, though, all that happened was a one-sided beating. After that, we at the fighting arena. Kang In-hee is beating someone. He is the winner of the fight. The students that are watching the fight says, he's been merciless even since he fought Lee Gilsu. I bet his ego was hurt. Who knows what the results could have been if he bashed his head into him. True. Kang In-hee's weakness is headbutting. Don't forget the barf attack. And he gets to them and says, "Hey, if you're so confident, why don't you fight me?" They apologize. He is really angry and thinks, all these damn idiots. And he gets to his friends and asks, "Did you guys see Lee Gilsu today?" They reply, "Lee Gilsu? I haven't seen him around lately." "Yeah, I haven't even been seeing him during our breaks. I don't think he's been coming here either." Then isn't he basically rejecting the arena? He thinks, Chung saying, "From today onward, freshman Lee Gilsu will not be protected by the arena." Ilhei says, "I have an idea. A way to fuck up some losers." After that, we see Gilsu is running. He thinks of himself getting beat up by Chung. Gilsu thinks, "Can I really become stronger with that kind of training method? It's not enough. I'm going to become strong, much faster." Some people come riding their bikes. Gilsu gets hit by one of them. He stops and says, "You scratched my roomie." They all surround him. "Excuse me, I think we need to have a discussion. My beloved bike is destroyed because of you. I think it's going to cost about 5 million won to repair it. You're going to need to pay up." Gilsu says, "How am I supposed to give you that much money out of nowhere? And you were the one who pumped into me." He grabs Gilsu from his head and says, "What the hell did you just say? Goddamn, you look like a loser. So you want to scam me?" He punches Gilsu in the face. And the other biker says, "Hey, we're witnesses. You ran into him. He really went flying from just a punch. I think even I could even beat him up." Gilsu thinks, "What?" The biker says, "Hey, are you taking in your ear holes instead of listening to me? Respond." Gilsu thinks, "What the hell? Why am I not scared at all?" He says, "Hey, did you really think that I was asking for the 5 million? That just means that you should give me all the money you have right now and in the future too. Gilsoo thinks, right? I've been getting beaten up by that monster all this time. Gilsoo gets up and moves his hand and punches him in the face. Gilsoo says, why would I give someone like you money? I'm not scared anymore. He grabs Gilsoo's hand and says, what the? Was that supposed to be a punch? Gilsoo is really surprised and thinks, my punch didn't work at all? Gilsoo punches him a lot and thinks, what do I do now? I've never learned about damage. All I've learned is how to get hit. Biker kills Gilsoo in the face and says, are doing a skit or something, you bastard? Do you think this is a swimming pool? You're like a windmill. Mistook you for an idiot. They grab Gilsoo. He wears knuckles and says, so you were a loser all along? Hey, hold him tight. He'll get his act together once he gets beaten up and realize that he was out of place for no reason. Okay, clench your teeth. I'm coming. One of Gilsoo's classmates appears there and jumps. He kicks the biker in the face. His friend says, hey, get it together. Gilsoo is really surprised to see Jean there. Jean smiles and says, it was you, Gilsoo. The other biker jumps toward him and says, where the hell did you come from? Jean easily dodges the attack and punches him in the face. One grabs long pipe and runs toward him. Jean easily defeats him. Gilsoo sees him and thinks, wow, he's so strong. Although he was just a normal guy, was he always this strong? A girl comes running toward them and says, do you know who we are? We're the strongest first years of Jinsan Technical High School. If we tell our upperclassmen, you're done for. He gets up and says, stop it. Bringing those guys won't do a thing. Look at that bastard's clothes. He's from 6 Gates High. Although that loser was just being weird, but it looks like we messed with the wrong person. Let's go. If I knew he was 6 Gates High, I wouldn't have touched him. They leave. Jean says, stupid. Jean asks, how did you get involved with them? Gilsoo tells Jean about the training. Jean is surprised and says, what? Special training from Jangchung? Wow, you're really serious about the fighting arena. Huh? Gilsoo says, yeah, but it looks like I'm still weak. So I was doing stamina training on my own when I met those bastards. Jean says, I saw you start throwing your hands in the air. Gilsoo thinks, I'm so embarrassed. Jean says, well, it was good that you weren't scared and resisted, but you're not strong enough to face several people at once yet. Gilsoo asks him why they ran away after hearing the name of 6 Gates. Jean says, of course they run away. Our school is famous in this neighborhood. 6 Gates High School is a gathering place for people who can fight in the Jungyung Arena. It's a school gang with a long history. It used to be like a jungle, where normal students would become prey to the rampant of school violence. Gilsoo asks him why it's not like that anymore. Jean tells him that it's all thanks to Chung. After conquering our lawless school, he made the fighting arena and set up some rules. 6 Gates High, which now had one-on-one fights in the fighting arena and rules, slowly become cleaner. It's the result of having another method of resolving what was once senseless violence. But if the fighting arena OT Chung disappears and following the rules loses meaning, who knows, it might return to the hell it was before. There are still some bastards who want the old 6 Gates High back. After that, we see a fighting arena where Yongo is fighting with students. Yongo defeats him easily and says that it's so boring. After that, he calls a glasses student to fight him. Student asks him why he wants to fight him. Yongo tells him, just 'cause I didn't like the way you looked from the start. Inhee and his friends are watching him. And he says, those losers, I wonder if they know their place. Yongo defeats one more student. Student asks him to stop, but Yongo still hits him. We see Inhee takes off his shirt and says, move. It's my turn now. 2 students are talking, saying that who Inhee is going to fight with. Inhee calls one of them on the stage. He gets very scared and refuses to go there. Inhee goes toward him and says, are you going to reject the fighting arena just like Gilsoo? Chung appears there and asks, what are you doing right now? And he says, why? Is there a problem? I don't think I broke any rules. Chung tells him you'd better not put on a pointless show of bravado. And he says, sorry for causing a commotion. I'll be more careful next time, Chung. After that, we see a flashback where Inhee and his friends talking. One of his friends asks, do you have a way to deal with that loser? What do you mean by that? Did you find a way to get rid of the fighting arena? or something. Inhee replies no, that loser just shot himself in the foot. He's the first in the entire school to openly say no to the fighting arena. As long as you have arms and legs, anyone, be it a bully or a loser, can fight in the arena. A place where everyone is equal in the face of violence. That's the Six Gates High's fighting arena. They may boast about it as if it's great and all. But what if you take a good look at it? You'll find there are cowards who only enjoy watching others fight. But they never fight themselves. The loser mindset is still that of a loser. True, those guys never get into fights, like at all. Right. They hide behind rules and have a comfortable time at school. But the idiot who exposed that was the transfer student, Lee Gil-soo. WH6, how do you think will happen if you challenge those losers who hid behind the rules to a fight now? They'll think they have to fight at all costs, to avoid becoming like Lee Gil-soo. Exactly. The fighting arena is now our playground. After that, we see the next Chung is beating Gil-soo. Gil-soo thinks, I feel like I'm going to die. Gil-soo blocks one of his punches. Chung is really surprised. Gil-soo thinks still, I'm not as scared as I used to be. Chung smiles and says, Ho, it looks like you're getting used to punches, huh? Gil-soo also tries to poke Chung. Chung easily dodges the attack. Gil-soo thinks, right in the end, if I want to win, I have to hit him. Gil-soo tries to punch him, and Chung is getting annoyed, and says, shut up. He hits Gil-soo really hard. Gil-soo thinks, he hit me way harder than usual. Chung says, it's 1-2. If you just master 1-2, you can win any fight. After that, we see an arcade club. Gil-soo says, damn, it's super old. But why are we here? There is a punching machine. Gil-soo sees and asks, a punching machine? Chung tells him that. Raise both fists to your chin and tuck your chin in. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart and move little on your feet. Throw the one lightly with your front hand. For the two, put your weight into it. Rotate your hips, and he punches the punching machine really hard. But he gets only 1 point. Gil-soo thinks, that sounded like a damn gunshot. All right, now it's my turn. Throw the one lightly. Then put your weight into it, and he also punches really hard. Gil-soo thinks, nice, I'm getting the hang of it. Gil-soo thinks, the score's the same as before. Chung says, those weak punches won't do. Chung hit the punching machine with a powerful punch. Chung tell Gil-soo this machine has been broken for a long time, so it doesn't work without a precise impact. He gets 2 points this time. You need to hit hard enough for this machine to register the punch. Then only will it be proved that you can deal mange to your opponent. Find your own form, and don't show up in front of me until you get that score. After that, we see a girl break up with a student. He thinks, why is she acting like this again? She was fine when we hung out yesterday. He bumps into the number 2 of the Inhee gang, Park Yongo. Yongo threw him on the ground and says, oh my, sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you. He asks, did you do that on purpose? Yongo says, I just made a mistake, man. What's that look on your face? If you have a problem, let's style it in the arena. He gets scared and says, no, it was my fault. Yongo laughs and says, right? It's your fault, right? And just in case there are any misunderstandings, that wasn't school violence. That was a mistake where I bumped into you. Be more careful next time. Jean gets there to help him get up. Jean asks, what's with that bastard? He did that on purpose, right? We should report this to the Student Guidance Council. No, let's just leave it. It's not worth making a huge deal out of it. After that, we see in the cafeteria Gil-soo is eating. He thinks, I've been punching that machine all through my break. No matter how much I eat, I'm still hungry. I must have punched it 100 times, but the score was still the same. Just how much harder do I have to hit? Yongo gets there and says, be careful there. Oh my, sorry. He throws his lunch on Gil-soo. He says, it's Gil-soo. Huh? Sorry, my bad. Haven't seen you around much lately. Where do you disappear to every break? I missed you, you bastard. He hits Gil-soo in the back. It's good to see you again after so long. He keeps hitting him. You feel the same, right, Gil-soo? After that, we see a flashback where one of Inhee's friends says, hey, that was hilarious just now. Yongo pushed him, and he apologized for it. And he says, he's slowly getting the hang of how things are supposed to work in a school. Now let's get Gil-soo in the arena. and show him what's what. We'll make sure he knows what happens when someone messes with us. Yango says, I'll handle it. Inhi. You don't need to get involved to drag an insect out. Inhi asks, you will? But how? Yango says, just trust me. Gilsu grabs Yango's arm. Yango says, our deal Gilsu has learned to resist now too? Huh? You're even cuter when you're angry. Gilsu thinks, what do I do? He remembers that Chang said to him, you're banned from the arena until you're done with training. He thinks Chung told me not to. But with things coming to this, I don't have a choice. I've trained hard, so. Someone throws their food plate on Yango and says, I'm eating, shut up. They say you shouldn't even bother a dog when he's eating. Yango gets really angry and says, which bastard was that? It's Jean, he says. You should know your limits, you bastard. Yanho asks, have you gone crazy? Do you want to die? Jean replies, I'm sorry, but this isn't school violence. Yango says, what? My hand just slipped. I wanted to fight you anyway, so this is good. Come to the fighting arena today. I'll educate you properly. Jean is washing his hand. Gilso says, hey, Jean. I'm sorry. Because of me, you. Jean says, what are you talking about? I didn't act out because of you. Although it did look like he was targeting you, I didn't have any intention of fighting for you. I've been wanting to educate Kong and Hayes Gan for a while now. I can't stand them acting up in the fighting arena. Gilsu says, acting up? You must not know because you haven't been there in a while. Gilsu says, did something happen? Jean says, those bastards have been unilaterally choosing the weak and assaulting them in the fighting arena, saying they have absurd negative emotions within them and fighting out of nowhere. When they get scared, they use the fact that you refuse to participate in the fighting arena as well. Jean says, I didn't have an opportunity to fight them, so this is good. I can't stand watching the fighting arena get messed up like this. Gilsu asks, but why do you want to protect the fighting arena? If you're that strong, I don't think it matters whether the fighting arena exists or not. Do you have a reason? I had a dark period like you once. We see a flashback in which Jean is being bullied. He says, I was fat and shy when I was younger, and I got bullied severely since middle school. That hell was so dark, I thought it'd be better to just die. The Ande, someone saved me from that hell. It turned out he was the director of a nearby boxing gym. After that, I tried boxing for the first time and got obsessed with the sport like crazy. That's how boxing transformed me. After my transformation, nobody could bother me again like before. Even the bastards who posed as gangsters were actually nothing at all when I faced them. Although the rules of the fighting arena that Zhang Chun created are a bit excessive, I like that you can fight with your own power without getting suppressed by the fear of getting ganged up on. That's why I want to keep it so much. Just watch how I wreck that bastard Park Yango. After that we see the fighting arena. They are ready to fight. Yango says, I don't know how you got the guts to ask me out for a fight, but I'll show you what a stupid decision egging me on was. Jean says, are you here to fight with words? Stop yapping and let's start. Yango says, you sure are raring to go, you bastard. Gilsu is also there and thinks, good luck, Hin. They both start to fight. Yango punches and Jean dodges the punch. Yango thinks he dodged. Jean easily dodges all of his punches and hits Yango in the face. Everyone is really surprised to see Jean fight. Yango thinks, fuck, what the hell? He's faster than I expected. Is boxing his martial art? His footwork is pretty good. Well, he's fast, but his punches are weak. I was a bit surprised, but I'm stronger. Yango starts to fight back. He dodges the attack of Jean, but Jean hits him in the face with another fist. Jean says, nice shot. Yanghu thinks, this bastard. He did that on purpose to lure me in. Gilsu is really happy and thinks he's so strong. Park Yango hasn't even landed a single blow on him. Everyone thinks, has Jean Duil always been this strong? Right? Park Yango's winning streak is going to break at this rate. Anyway, this will be fun. Gilsu thinks, Park Yango, an undefeated? Jean is easily dodging all the attacks of Yango. Yango is getting really angry and thinks, why can't I land a single blow? Jean says, your jabs aren't landing. So do you think your wide attacks will? Jean punches him in the face. Jean says, your smaller one has to land for the bigger one to do. He punches Yango in the face really hard. Jean says, after talking all that, this is all you got. You're this weak, but you keep going around starting fights with others? Stop messing with the fighting arena and get lost. Yango looked toward Inhee. Yango smiles and says, don't worry. I won't lose. Fine, I'll admit it. You're better than me at boxing. Yeah, I'll go at it properly now. Yango gets ready to fight. Yango says, come at me. The second part of The King of Violence ends here. If you want to see more, please subscribe and like. And if you want to support me financially, you can join my channel membership or Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want to support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.